Alright, it's been done and dusted, and let's talk about the fight that went down over the weekend. It was one fight that many people look forward to, and it was really shocking the result in the recording of fans of Anthony Joshua in Nigeria and everywhere else in the world, especially in the UK. It was a really big shock, an absolute shocker for Dubois. Yes, you're talking about Daniel Dubois, the 27-year-old who did it, beating Anthony Joshua so clearly in a way and manner that suggested that he was just the better boxer on the night. But a lot of people have said that Anthony Joshua should quit the sport because he doesn't seem to have what it takes to really contest for any fight. He's been losing too much. But one person who doesn't think that way is Prince Stanley Williams, British-born Nigerian boxing promoter, an expert he is. He talked to us about the fight before it came on, and then he is ready to talk to us again today. And Prince Stanley Williams, it's really good to have you join us again.
Yes, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Okay, in a preview of the fight, you did say that the only person who can deny Joshua of victory is Joshua himself. Now, as a review, do you still think so?
That's correct. That's correct. I did say Joshua could be the one to stand in his own way because it's heavyweight boxing. I mean, you're fighting at the top level, and you should be expecting any person you're fighting has a puncher's chance because they could knock you out. Every heavyweight is dangerous. But of course, at this level, we would expect Anthony Joshua to be much more defensive, follow the game plan that has already been orchestrated and put in place by his team. There's a reason why you have Ben Davison as your coach. And I don't think Ben Davison would have told him to go all out like a gladiator in the first round of the fight. So I feel earlier stages, Anthony Joshua came in with a mindset not like the previous fights he's had. He had with Ngannou. He was very, very cautious. He respected himself. He didn't throw too many punches. He calculated, feinted Ngannou, always covered his side of his ear. He respected the power of Ngannou. That was why he was very defensive in his approach. The same thing happened with the former guy that fought Tyson Fury, who he fought, Otto Wallin. And he defeated Otto Wallin by being very defensive, and he picked his time for his attack. In this fight, I think he came out with no defense. If you watch the fight closely, you will see Anthony Joshua's hands were down, and you would wonder. And this is what made people like great legends like Lennox Lewis complain at the ringside. Why is his chin out? Why is he not protecting himself? You would see that as a result of several sparring sections Anthony Joshua must have had with Daniel Dubois, which has been elongated over the years. So he feels he knows Dubois and he knows that he can punch, but he knows he has a stronger punching power than Dubois, so which he actually put in place. So I feel that's a mistake on Anthony Joshua's side, and he has to go back to the drawing board now.
Now, Anthony Joshua represents quite a lot for Africans and especially Nigerians. He is quite an inspiration, and it is really disheartening that he is losing fights, and the way and manner he lost that last fight is something that is giving a lot of people some concern. Your thoughts?
Well, yes, Anthony Joshua's story is a grass to grace story. He is a fighter of a huge significance to Africa, not just Nigeria, and also to Great Britain. He's brought them a lot of honor. He's brought Great Britain a lot of, a lot of pride. He's the A side. Even fighting Daniel Dubois, who's also a Brit, he's always the A side. If he fights Tyson Fury, he still remains the A side because of the nation loves him. They celebrate Anthony Joshua from the Olympic days of 2012, London 2012. He was, I think, one of the last people that won them a gold medal. So you must respect that. Nigeria also has to also respect that he's actually motivated a lot of fighters in Nigeria who are turning pro, who want to go for their dreams. Anthony Joshua has been a source of inspiration. He's also been to Nigeria, showed them a lot of love and support, and so many people he's also put under his management. You have people like Okole, you have different people who he has also inspired, like Joshua Boatsi. So there are many fighters under his wing, and also even people from England. So you must respect the story of Anthony Joshua. He's bounced back. He's fought every opposition. He's somebody that has showed himself, even when he knows the tide is up against him, he still comes out to perform. And I think this is like the same mistake he made with the Ruiz fight. Came back and rewrote the wrong, and he will just have to go back to the drawing board, get it right, and make things work. And I feel the team he's got now, there are people who study their mistakes, so they will go back and study their mistakes. They don't come back making the same mistakes again. Every fight should have a different game plan, and I think this one, he didn't follow the game plan. He came out with his heart. He didn't fight with his head in this fight, and you can see that he even hurt Dubois. He hurt Dubois, and he still made the same mistake he made in the second round. He came in with his head again without guiding his head, and Dubois countered him. The same way Ruiz countered him and he fell. Same way Vladimir Klitschko countered him and he fell. So that same mistake, it needs to be corrected. You could change your coach, but you need to also adjust in your approach.
Well, truly, the damage has been done already. What is next now is the way forward. What next for Anthony Joshua?
Yes, it's part of boxing. This is a very, very difficult sport. It's a fight. It's like you have to fight all through it. You have to be a warrior. Great fighters have fallen and coming up. Muhammad Ali has had his days. He had Sonny Liston. He had Joe Frazier. He lost to Joe Frazier. He still bounced back. And you have people like Mike Tyson. He also had problems like that. Mike Tyson came to England, I think 2003. He fought Danny Williams. And when he fought Danny Williams, he was dominating Danny Williams in a fight that was one-sided, and only just one punch changed the fight. Mike Tyson was on the ground, and that fight went to Danny Williams. Same Mike Tyson also fought Buster Douglas in 1992, and just one mistake ended the fight. Mike Tyson was on the ground, So I feel in boxing sometimes we see people who have worked so hard. This is like a very difficult sport. It's not easy. It takes blood, sweat, and tears and dedication. You work so hard in your training camp. You come to exercise your strength in the ring and show your boxing capabilities. With your talent. Sometimes you can fall short. You just have to go back and work on all these things. Come back stronger. Anthony Joshua has a greater future ahead of him. I think he's now in his prime. He's not past his prime, and I still strongly feel that Danny Dubois is actually tailor-made for him. He's a tailor-made fighter for him, because Danny Dubois fights the same style. He throws ferocious punches. He's a hard puncher as well, but he's not a harder puncher than Anthony Joshua. That's the truth, and you can see that Joshua hurt him in the ending of the fight, before Joshua got knocked down, because even while knocked down, Joshua was still trying to get up because his legs were gone. There's being knocked out where you can't even get up. He was still trying to get up. That means he has the heart. Why, if I'm to compare him, you have to give all credit to Dubois. He did a good job as well on his side to be able to withstand a fighter like Joshua, who is actually on a winning streak, high confidence. Now, this has only made Danny Dubois more confident. It will make the rematch more difficult. But I feel like the hand and the matchroom staff, they know what to do. They will exercise that clause, and they will trigger the rematch clause. And we're looking at Fury versus Usyk in December. Now the whole world was waiting for Fury to come through, miraculously, so he could fight Anthony Joshua. That would be the biggest fight on earth. Nothing surpasses that. If you have Usyk versus Dubois, it will not do anywhere as good, as near as Joshua versus Fury. That would be a fight of the century. So I think Anthony Joshua still has a lot to prove. He has to go back to the drawing board and rewrite his wrongs.
There are some weaknesses and frailties in Anthony Joshua's way of fighting, and it includes inability to come up with a good defense. Do you see him correcting that aspect if he's going to be fighting again?
Yes, they are, and a lot of people have said he's got a questionable chin due to, this is not like taking anything away from Danny Dubois, but Anthony Joshua has always had that problem. If he's tongue first, he has a problem. This almost happened in the Dillian White fight. It almost happened in the Vladimir Klitschko fight. He was down. It happened in the Ruiz fight. So he's a fighter that can always get up and fight. Some fighters are like that. Everybody is different. Not everyone can be Floyd Mayweather or Patterson, or maybe Shavers. Most of these guys who are very defensive, and or maybe Sugar Ray Leonard or Sugar Ray Robinson. So these people are all fighters of different weight classes, and sometimes the weight makes a difference. So Anthony Joshua's story has been different. He started boxing late. He's done very well for someone who started boxing late, and you have to give him credit. It's not easy to step into that square center and fight somebody. Your promoters can do all the talking, your team can do all the training and everything, but you need to fight the person. And in a fight, one bad move changes the whole thing. And I don't even think he has even implemented his game plan. He hadn't had the time. Danny Dubois actually jumped on him at an early stage. We expected Joshua to keep that fast left jab, keep his hand up when he lands his right. He didn't do that. So he was with his face, he has his chin open. So I think he can correct this. Everything is still the ball is still in his court, because he still has the rematch clause to, redeem himself. The last time you talked about redemption, this is it now. This is the real redemption. And in the area of Danny Dubois himself, I think him and his team, people like Don Charles, who's been around Joshua before, he didn't work with Joshua, but he worked with Chisora. Chisora is a fighter that is very close friends to Joshua. So I could imagine he's been seeing a lot of lapses in some areas, and it's also fed it to his new fighter, who has actually carried it out effectively. So in the next fight, I believe Anthony Joshua will be more defensive. He will have to wait when he gets opportunity before he can take his shots. He picks his shots. He doesn't just go aggressively, and he will correct that. And moving into the future, we expect that if he can win that fight and do the right thing, then we can be seeing him up against maybe Fury or Usyk, whichever one that presents itself first. So we wish him all the best, and we hope that he can bounce back stronger and once again rewrite his wrong and get it right once and for all.
All right, we see how it goes. You said this is the time for him to have a redemption. We see how that redemption will go. Thank you very much, Prince Stanley Williams. Always a pleasure talking boxing with you right here.
Yes, thank you very much, Ed. And my regards to the whole AIT team. We thank you guys, and we appreciate you for all what you've been doing for boxing. And you're part of the history, and you're part of the story. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're still very much with us on Sports Extra right here. We are going to be getting to talk the Bundesliga when we connect with Chris Harrington from our partner station in a moment.